I'm tuning in from Nairobi, Kenya, and it is just wonderful to be on this platform early morning. There's that saying that the early bird catches the worm. And so I just want to congratulate each and every one of us who has been able to log in at such an hour. Today, we are going to talk about diabetes, and I will share just a little bit, and I can assure you we'll still finish on time despite our time that we started, and we'll be able to do a few things. So let me just open up my screen so that I'm able to do some sharing, and then we'll be able to get right off. I just hope that my screen is showing, but it's a bit stuck. Let me see if I can use it. If not, I'll be able to still just go on without it if I'm not able to get it to respond appropriately. I can see it's at the end. Let me see if I can get it back to the slideshow. I go to the first one. Yeah. Okay, we are ready. So I just want us to go through some very basic things about diabetes. First of all, to say diabetes is a sugar issue, but there are many things that can bring that challenge. And so I'm going to go through a few things that can cause diabetes. First of all is to know that there are three types of diabetes. There's the one we call type 1. And usually type 1 is food-based, and that means that we can actually be able to regulate it from the food that we eat. I mean, type 1 is the one that we get when we are children. Sorry, type 1 is almost inherited. People say it's inherited, but yet at the end of the day, you're going to realize it's what we call autoimmune, that the immune system actually just fights your system. And as a result of that, you find that you get what you call type 1 diabetes or inherited. Then we've got type 2 diabetes that is food-based. And when we say it's food-based, we are saying that you can do something about it. Then the other one is the one that people, normally ladies, get when they're pregnant, gestational diabetes. And so I'm going to mainly focus on type 2, the one that we can control through diet, exercise, and a change in diet. And that's what we're going to do. These are just some statistics on the things that were happening by 2020. We already passed 2020. This statistic was actually given more than 50 years ago when your life started. And they were just saying by the year 2024, three out of every 4 deaths would be caused by these diseases. And we have seen that it has actually come to pass, that 4 years ago, this particular prophecy came to pass. And so we're no longer saying that it will happen. We are saying it is here with us. And I just want us to go very briefly on our health status. And I know that most of us on this call probably are distributors, but for the sake of those who are maybe just new, who have just recently joined, and I want to welcome you on board, we will go through it. And then for the older one of us, we will remind ourselves and be able to understand even better. So we are saying that we've got what we call a health status. In other words, we live in 3 zones. First of all, there's the vibrant. Between 0 and 20 years, you're very vibrant. There is nothing you cannot do. They can bend, you just find there is no part of your body that cannot move, and you're totally flexible, very, very vibrant. And no wonder young children can play the whole day and they still have energy in the evening. Then we move to the tired zone, where people at this age are between 30 to 45 there. You just find people are just tired. You're just saying, I am just exhausted, I am tired. And I can easily relate with this because I worked for the bank before Neolife. And I remember I was so tired. You know, we say you're tired of being sick and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. You're just exhausted. And you cannot put it to a particular thing. You're just fatigued. And then after we move from that, from our 45, 50, 60, 70 onwards, we become sick. And this has become like our trend of life, you know, and we are saying that that need not be, that we can actually move from this because it's like we have accepted this as a status quo. So I tell people that if at 20 is when you are vibrant, and you're going to probably pass on at 80. That means for the next 60 years, people are in the sick and tired zone, which means you're not going to be productive at all. And no wonder many people are not looking forward to aging gracefully, to being old, because they look at all the challenges that the old people have and they're thinking, man, I know people ask for a longer life, but I don't think I want this life because if this is the trend, I don't want to be in it. But I want to tell you that can change, that what we're going to talk about this morning can actually transform that to be another thing, that you can actually live vibrant and just die because your time has come, but not because of the health challenges. And these are just some dietary factors that I'll put there. I might not go through it, but I know you can be able to see from your screen and you can be able to read that we are eating food that lacks nutrients. In other words, somebody has said we are an overfed society and undernourished. We just eat for the sake of it as long as we get full or we fill our stomachs. And because of that, people are eating like they're just a garbage bin. They throw anything in as long as it fills them up. And then 75% of us are consuming foods that are incorrect. We know they're dangerous. We know they're harmful. We know they're not good for us, but we still do it. And so we are saying that that is not okay. And this is just a food pyramid. And like I said, because I know this is like a distributor training, most of us have this pyramid with us in our manuals, in our presentation books. And so we are saying right there at the bottom, you need first of all to watch your weight. You need to know your BMI, a body mass index. At your height, you're supposed to be certain kgs. So the first place to start is to watch your weight. And that means that we have to do some physical exercise. Most of us, some physical movement, not even exercise. Some people, when they hear exercise, they're thinking of the gym and the machines. And we're just seeing some physical movement that and managing your weight are very key, because weight can give you a lot of challenges. As we go ahead, you're going to see some of the things that weight brings. And then 40% of your food needs to be whole grains. That's why if you're in East Africa, you find we eat chapati today, tomorrow we eat rice, the next day we eat ugali. We're just trying to fill up that gap of whole grains. But you're saying the whole grains need to be the ones, whole grains are unrefined. They're usually brown in color, not very tasty, not good looking. But you know, these days, if you understand health, you're not going to eat according to color and taste, you're going to eat because of the nutritional value. Then 30% of our diet needs to be fruits and vegetables. With fruits and vegetables, we look at colors. But most of us don't understand colors. We just eat the fruit of the season or whatever we feel is good for us. And we are saying, no, you need at least 6 to 9 basic servings of fruits and vegetables every day to help your system, especially with the immune system. And then we've got protein, 20% only. Like a quarter kilo of meat should be eaten by about 10, 12 people and a child. Here in Kenya, we've got something we call nyama choma, and I think passing through Uganda in June on my way to Congo for a function, I saw that they've even got the billboards with nyama choma on it. So they've caught up with the Kenyans, because in Kenya, something like what we call nyama choma, a whole kilo, one man will eat it on his own. And remember that a quarter kilo should be eaten by about 12 people. So he's eating food of about 50 people in one sitting, and that can be really something. So we are saying 20%, especially red meat, 3 to 4 pieces is enough. And then 10% for fats and sugars, because all the way from whole grains to the fruits and vegetables to the protein, there's some fat and there's some sugar in it. And especially refined sugars, we are saying only 10%. And then you need to drink at least 2 to 2.5 liters of water on a daily basis. But we are saying, look at this is what we have done. And I did see the Rolex in Uganda. Rolex is a very, very famous meal. And we are saying that the thing we should do the least, we are eating the most. We are eating a lot of refined sugars and a lot of things that are just putting sugar into our system. And I want to tell those of us who are on the call, sometimes, especially the children, are very hyper because they've got so much sugar, so much energy. They've got to find a way of dispensing it. And so no wonder they're everywhere and they're not even able to settle down and do anything. I don't know if you've seen children in a supermarket, they've gone shopping and they're just throwing tantrums. And the mother is wondering, what do I do with this child? It's all these excess sugars that we're giving them in form of refined foods. Like I was saying, I'll just run through this and go and focus on what we are really supposed to do. And we are saying this is what is happening to us. And you know, there's all this junk food we are eating. It's very nice. It's easy to prepare. In fact, I've almost come to the conclusion that the faster a food is to prepare and less messy, the more unhealthy it is for you. And most of us are eating foods that you cannot identify them, you know, from the plates. I tell people the moment you see a meal and you cannot see how it looks like from the farm, then you're probably eating a processed food, because you should be able to tell what you're eating from your plate. What does it look like? You should be able to see that picture of that plant or that crop when it's on the farm. And you're saying these are some of the results of, especially I said, obesity. Obesity is a big challenge, being overweight. And we are saying that is why we are saying that the first place to start is weight management and exercise, because if you don't, this is the kind of thing that can happen. And I know a few people who say that the family has got a challenge because they claim that their bodies are big. And I want to say I've never seen as a fat skeleton. As you can see from that photo, it's only the fat on the body. The skeleton remains the same. And so we're imagining this particular skeleton trying to support this kind of body, it's not going to work. And the two major challenges that we get in health is what we call inflammation, all those burning and the pains and aches, and then something we call oxidation. Those are the two enemies of aging and diseases. And so we are saying we need to manage our weight and do some exercise. And so There we are giving a solution, and we are saying that you can actually turn that pyramid the right side up by taking the supplements that are there. The first one is TNN, and like I said, I'm just going to run through. And TNN, the very first one that is green, helps with what we call whole grains. And its work is to actually help us with cellular nutrition. We are saying that until food gets to your cells, it's of no value. And so most people are eating foods that are not helping them because they're not able to get in, and waste is not able to get out. Because when you eat refined foods, they form almost a wall on the outer part of the cell that is called a cell membrane. And the work of a cell membrane is to regulate what will go in and what will come out of the cells. And our bodies, the smallest part, if we broke up our bodies, would be a cell. And so the more functional or better your cell works, the better everything will be. And so we are talking about cellular nutrition. And so TNN will help to clean out, to make that cell membrane soft and permeable, allow food to get in and waste to go out. Then for fruits and vegetables, we've got carotenoid complex. And our carotenoid is amazing. It actually has got over 600 carotenoids. Carotenoids are the brightly colored fruits, the yellow, the green, the orange, the red. Those bright colors of fruits and vegetables are known as carotenoid. And the biggest thing that carotenoid will do is to help with the immunity, because immunity is a big deal. Like we already talked that there's a type 1 diabetes that is immunity-based, and autoimmune, your immune system just fights you back. And so carotenoid, very, very key. And then we've got omega-3, which is the fish oil. And the work of the fish oil is to balance the oils in the body. And the fish oil will help to handle things like inflammation, the aches and the pains and the swellings that take place because of the challenges we get because of eating refined foods. And then we've got the multivitamin. That is at the end here. This multivitamin has got 25 of the essential vitamins and minerals that your body needs to be able to work well. And those 4 items are available from us in a pack called the Pro Vitality Pack, which I know we all know because most of us start business with the Pro Vitality Pack. And those are all the things that the Pro Vitality Pack will do. So we are saying Pro Vitality Pack is basic. That is the foundational. So before you add any other product, this is what you should actually use, because the Pro Vitality Pack gives you the basis or the foundation for good health from head to toe, all the way. The whole body system is taken care of by the Pro Vitality. But let me now move on to the diabetes, because that is what our major focus was. And we did say that diabetes is a sugar issue, and diabetes is controlled, or sugar is controlled by a hormone known as insulin that comes from a place we call the pancreas. And so it is a hormone actually that is produced to manage sugar levels. So you can have high sugar levels, you can also have low sugar levels. So the only time insulin is produced if your sugar levels are high or low, otherwise it never need be produced. And so we are saying that there's something we need to do to be able to make sure that we've got the sugar levels at the right place. And these are the 3 types of diabetes I mentioned at the beginning. The first one that is dependent on insulin, you cannot do without it, and it's autoimmune. People are born with it or they inherit it. And then the second one is the one that is food-based, that you and I are able to control through diet, exercise, and supplementation. And then gestational, the one that pregnant women, when people get expectant and they do get insulin challenge, they get sugar challenges. And so that is the only time they are diabetic. Now, what are the risk factors? First of all, we are saying that being overweight is a challenge. You should check on that. And then having people who have got diabetes in the family. Diet is a big deal, eating a lot of processed foods like we've seen. Lack of exercise. Most of us don't exercise. We use a car to get to the office, we get into a lift, we sit the whole day, and the process goes on and on. And then people are 45 and above, and I bet it's because they're not as active as they used to be. Now, we say that type 2 diabetes is the one we are going to handle because there's something you can do. And these are some of the symptoms that you're going to see if somebody has got that kind of diabetes: extreme thirst. They drink water and they don't seem to be able to quench that thirst. Extremely tired, very, very tired. In fact, most diabetic people by 3 o'clock, they're not functional. They're so exhausted, they need to just take a break. And then constantly feeling hungry. You eat, but you're always hungry. And some of it loss of weight, and then problems with eyesight. Eyesight are very, very big deal because diabetes interferes with many organs. In fact, if I was to ask, this is probably the most dangerous disease because it affects all the vital organs, from the eyes to the kidneys to the heart. It is really, really a challenge. And if you understand today about diabetes, you do anything and everything to avoid it, because it actually just targets the vital organs. And so it means that people dying at an early age is really can happen. And then slow healing of wounds. I don't know if you have seen people whose wounds take forever to heal. They just get a cut or a just slight injury, and that wound will never really heal. And so we are saying that is probably that one is diabetic, and then frequent infections. And then there are areas that turn dark, especially the end of the limbs. I came across through a man who was going to have his toe, the big toe, amputated because it had actually become dark and it had started rotting. There was a wound there that was not only healing, it became dark and was now rotting, and they actually wanted to cut it off. And so I was saying, if the wound is already not healing, don't you think you'll do more damage by cutting it off? Because the issue is not that it's the toe, the issue, it's the healing. So if you cut it out, does that help? And so we are going to see what happens and why that comes about. And then there's always a tingling, numbness, or pain in the hands or feet. Like I said, the limbs are the most affected, especially with the color and wound not healing. And so these are some supplements. Like I said, I'll just run through them briefly. And I'm sure that because we're in this platform, we are able to engage more further during the day. And so we are saying these are the key products that you need. First of all, there's the Pro-Vitality that you need. And the biggest thing in that Pro-Vitality that you need that helps, especially with diabetes, we said it is because of eating processed food. So Pro-Vitality has got all those whole grain foods. And at that level, actually, sugar starts being regulated. And so I might not go in any particular order, but I'll just go as they come. Then we've got the Botanical Balance. When Botanical Balance, which came about 3-4 years ago, is a real game changer. It is actually the total sugar control product. And what is so amazing about Botanical Balance is that it does it so well and also helps insulin to be receptive. There are people whose systems actually have got a body that resists insulin, so that even when they were diabetic and they use insulin, it is not able to work. So Botanical Balance, apart from the fact of regulating sugar in the body, it actually helps people who are already on insulin and to help it to be receptive, to help the cells to take it in. And what is amazing about Botanical Balance, I had a client who had diabetes for a while, and they were saying that he wasn't sure that he has it. And when they discovered the sugar level was at 20, and 20 is very high because it should be at about 6 and at about 6, 7 there. His was at 20. That was really high. And what they did is they put him on a diet for about 3-4 months. And when he went on diet, eating fruits and vegetables, looking after his diet, exercising without anything else, his sugar level came to 17. And I remember the wife calling me because I'd worked with her. And she said, do you still do Neolife? And I said, yes, I do. Do you have anything that helps with diabetes? And I said, there's just this new product that has come in. That was the first time I personally used it. I never want to sell a product before I use it. And so when she asked for it, she was like my first client to give since the launch. And I can tell you in 2 weeks, the sugar level went below 10, which they had been trying to manage. And it'd been told that by the end of that particular month, that if the sugar level does not come down, then they've got to start giving him insulin, either in injection form or tablet form. Now, Botanical Balance, usually take it before the meal. You take 4 in a day, 2 before your main meals. So it could be 2 before your breakfast and 2 before your supper. And what it does, it takes and soaks in all the excess sugar that could be in the food that you are eating. So that's how Botanical Balance works. And because of its ability to take in sugar, you can actually use it for weight management because weight is also a sugar issue. So a very amazing product. And one of the things that came up is that when you use Botanical Balance, you can actually protect yourself and never get diabetes at all. So those of us who don't know whether we are diabetic or are not thinking whether we are not, this is the product to take because then you are sure that you will not be able to get diabetes at all. And then the other product is zinc. Remember, we said that people are diabetic, their wounds don't heal. Zinc helps with internal healing because you see, the thing about a wound is that it heals when it's exposed. So imagine the wounds are usually inside. So diabetic people have got a lot of pains that are inside the body, almost burnings that are taking place, and they do not know what is happening. So zinc helps with internal healing. So when you find people, especially whose wounds are not healing, they are actually very likely that they are diabetic. And zinc is amazing. It not only boosts your immunity, but it does healing in such a fine and wonderful way. I remember that particular man that I've told you, who I found his toe rotting, and they were actually going to cut it off because they were dressing it, I think, 2 or 3 times a week because it was so bad. I remember giving him zinc and another product I'll talk about. And in a month, that toe color had totally changed, as in completely. And it was just amazing to see. So anybody going for an operation or anybody who's been through an operation, zinc, a wonderful product to have because it will help with wound healing. It helps to prevent colds, and also it helps with the immunity boost. When zinc combines with another product that is found in the Pro Vitality called omega-3, it gives the people with diabetes what we call GTF. GTF is glucose tolerance factor. People with diabetes, their glucose levels are the challenge. So when zinc combines with the omega-3 that is the Pro Vitality, it actually helps the body to be able to tolerate the glucose that is causing an issue. So you can see a very, very key product. And there are many other things that zinc does for the men. It helps with their prostate health. And of course, we are saying it is a wonderful product. For the women, I found that some women who are infertile, the ovum or the egg is too small to be fertilized. When they actually take zinc and the vitamin E, the egg size gets to be the right size and fertilization can take place. So you can imagine some people are just lacking basic things that can help them in life. Then the other product that we have is vitamin E. And vitamin E is very key when it comes to diabetes, because people are diabetic. Why the toe rots or why they get amputated is because there's no proper circulation. The blood gets so heavy that it can even form clots. And so vitamin E is actually a natural blood thinner. They're usually given a blood thinner, but the problem with the one that is chemically done is that it could make your blood so thin that it could actually give you other challenges. So our vitamin E is a natural blood thinner, and it allows blood to go to the smallest unit of a vessel we call a capillary. So our blood system has got arteries, then from arteries we go to veins, then the smallest unit of that circulatory system is a capillary, and that is where the ends of our hands are found, where our fingers are and our toes. And if blood is too thick, it cannot circulate in that whole body. And places where the blood is not reaching, that's where the rotting takes place, because all the food that needs to go to our system goes through the blood. So if blood is not reaching the limbs, then those places have no food, and as a result, they start rotting. And because of that rotting, that's actually why they amputate. So they amputate to stop those cells that are already damaged to continue multiplying and affecting other parts. But you see, they're not helping, because if the wound is not already healing, then they amputate, they have not really helped. Can you imagine if we were just able to understand vitamin E, nobody would get anything amputated. And I remember I got very, very serious about diabetes, because in the place where my father comes from, because of the food diet that is a traditional food, it brings a lot of diabetes. I found a man who had been amputated all the limbs. So it starts with one leg, goes to the next leg. When the legs are done, it comes to the hands. And this guy didn't have any of the limbs. And I just said, can you imagine a product like vitamin E could have sorted him out? Amazing that we've got something like this that helps with blood circulation. And so you can see that these products are key that we understand. Then, of course, we've got the Neolife Shake. And the biggest thing that the Neolife Shake does, there are 3 things that you get from the Neolife Shake. And I'll forever be grateful for Dr. Esiza being on this platform, because I think when I joined initially, I was like every other distributor who felt, man, how can I buy this product that is so expensive, $100 almost in Kenya shillings when we are retailing it. And I was thinking, how do I even buy this product for myself? You know, there are some of us who come in and say, me, I think I'm going to sell and not use, but I'm going to tell you one, to you, if you're not using, because if you get some certain challenges, people will wonder, do you really love yourself? And the thing that Neolife Shake does, it controls, of course, the BMI that we said, the body mass index, and it's important for you to be the right weight at the right height, because then you are going to avoid many of the challenges we saw. And then it gives you what we call antibodies that help to fight diseases. It also helps you with hormonal production, and that you need for your hormones to work well. And then it also helps with something we call enzymes. Enzymes break down food. When we eat food, those of us who did biology, enzymes are catalysts. They break down food so that the food can break down and give us energy. So those of us who have got people who are allergic, it means that their protein, the one they're taking, is not good. And what is amazing about our Neolife Shake, it's actually got 25 vitamins and minerals that support your system. And it is an amazing product. And I think since Dr. Esiza came on call, we have actually made sure that even if we're going to take a scoop, she said, even if you're going to take a scoop in the family and add other things that are natural to eat, you're better off than not taking it at all. And then there's fiber tablets. Fiber tablets and botanical balance almost do the same thing now. So if you've got a botanical balance, you could add just fiber. Fiber is also a sugar control. What fiber does, if there's excess sugar in your body, it takes it in. If there isn't enough, it balances out. And also with fiber tablets, it regulates how much you can eat, because fiber tablets swell to 50 times their size. If you took a glass of water and just put it halfway, water, and put some two tablets of fiber, in half an hour, that glass will be full at the bottom, totally full. And so it fills up in your stomach so that you can only eat a certain amount of food. Because I do say that people eat until they are full, not until they are satisfied. Full means you eat until there's no more space. And that seems to be how we eat. Satisfied means just enough of what you need. So to control that kind of eating where you eat and you just feel you're never full, fiber tablets then do help. And the other thing about fiber tablets is that they help with the colon. The colon is where when all the waste cannot go out, it stores in the colon, and that's how we get colon cancer. And just as I come to a conclusion, I want to say that if the worst came to the worst and you had only to pick maybe 2 or 3 products that you really need, one of them would be BetterGuard. BetterGuard is an amazing product, and I would urge each and every one of us who's a distributor to go and read, because apparently BetterGuard has got zinc as part of it. BetterGuard has also got vitamin E in it. BetterGuard has got vitamin B complex in it. BetterGuard has got some carotenoids in it. Can you imagine, all in one product? And what makes BetterGuard very amazing, it's also got something we call chromium. People who are diabetic feel a sense of burning inside their bodies. And that sense of burning, that BetterGuard helps with it. So if I was to pick just maybe 2 products or 3, I would pick BetterGuard, zinc, and then I would take, of course, the Pro Vitality Pack, like the very basic that you can do. And because of interest of time, now that we started just a little bit late, I think I want to stop there and we can interact more on the chat and we'll be able to carry on. But what I can tell you, do anything and everything to stop yourself from getting diabetes. Some of the organs diabetes affects the kidney, which means you might have to go for dialysis, the heart, because when the blood is too thick, forms a clot, you can either get a heart attack or a stroke. Then it also affects the eyes. It eats the cornea. So with time, people actually get blind from diabetes. So can you imagine all those organs getting affected by just one disease? And then with time, it also attracts high blood pressure. And when diabetes and high blood pressure occur together, it's a real challenge, even in the normal modern medicine. You cannot treat diabetes and high blood pressure, because high blood pressure medication affects diabetes, and diabetes medication affects high blood pressure. So at any one time, they treat the one that is the very advanced one. So if your pressure is the one that is high, they will not treat your diabetes. They treat the pressure. When the pressure is okay and it's now diabetes, so you find it's almost a rat and mouse kind of treatment. So can we do anything and everything not to even get there, especially if you're a distributor? So in the interest of time, I'm going to stop there and I'll just